Hello, everyone. Tonight we're traveling far from city lights and honking cars to a place where the sky stretches endlessly above you and the grassland hums with the quiet breath of history. You're waking up in a Mongolian gyr, a circular felt tent warmed by the last embers of the fire and the gentle body heat of those inside. Outside, the wind plays its ancient tune across the vast steppe. It's cold, the kind of cold that seeps through every layer, but it's familiar, even comforting. You can already hear the restless shifting of your most demanding companion, your falcon. This isn't just a day in the life of anyone. You're a Mongolian falconer. Your mornings begin not with emails or espresso shots, but with birds of prey and boots crusted in yesterday's dust. And let's be clear, between your falcon, your family, and your stubborn pony, you'll probably lose a little dignity today, but that's all right. The sky is wide enough to hold it all. Hey, if you're loving this content, I'd really appreciate it if you could give the video a quick like and hit that subscribe button. Tell me where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You shift under the thick wool blanket, still clinging to the last wisps of sleep. The fire in the center of the gyr has faded, its orange glow now just a memory smudged across the hearthstones. Outside, the wind moans low and slow, rattling the wooden door just enough to let you know it's morning. It's not a rude awakening, exactly, but let's just say the temperature helps you make decisions quickly. You sit up. The air inside your gyr is a mix of wood smoke, animal fur, and the tangy scent of leather gear drying on the wall, a little smoky, a little funky, but definitely home. Your falcon, tethered calmly to its perch just a few feet away, ruffles its feathers once and lets out a soft chirp. It's not quite a greeting, more like a reminder that it's watching you, and it has opinions. You crawl out from under your bedding and start the morning ritual. First, stir the ashes and coax the fire back to life with dried dung, which burns surprisingly well once you stop thinking about what it is. Next, boots. They're stiff with last night's frost, so you warm them over the new flames until they flex enough to slip on. Sort of. You're probably going to lose a toenail or two to these things eventually, but hey, authenticity. You stand and stretch. Outside, dawn is spreading across the sky in soft, pastel streaks. The steppe stretches in all directions like a sleeping ocean, and somewhere beyond the horizon, herds are stirring, and other falconers are likely having the exact same argument with their birds. Please don't fly off today. There's a quiet peace in the early hours out here. No buzz of electricity, no alarms, unless you count your falcon's occasional screech as an alarm clock. You grab your heavy outer coat, patched in 3 places and still somehow drafty, and step outside. The air bites, but the landscape makes up for it. You can see your breath, but you can also see forever. Nearby, your horse gives you a look that says, "Do not even think about saddling me before breakfast." That's fair. You duck back into the gyr and grab the pot of slightly sour air-egg fermented mare's milk, still cool from the night. It's not champagne, but it's got kick, and it wakes you up in a way caffeine never could. You sip slowly, eyeing the falcon as it blinks at you through its leather hood. There's a calmness to it, even with its eyes covered, like it knows this world better than you ever could. Historians still argue whether Mongolian falconers like you developed these practices on their own or absorbed them from neighboring cultures over centuries. Either way, there's no denying the deep bond between human and bird here. And let's be honest, your falcon is the one really running the show. You take a few more sips of airag, then reach for your thick felt gloves. The day hasn't even properly started, and you already smell like sour milk and smoke. Classic. Back outside, you whistle once, low and short. The horse flicks an ear, unimpressed. The falcon shifts on its perch, feathers puffing in the wind. In this quiet morning space, you feel small but essential, like a thread in the fabric of something very, very old. And just as your fingers start to thaw, you hear a distant sound, perhaps another falconer starting their day, or maybe just the wind playing tricks. Either way, it's time to get moving. You've got gear to pack, a bird to train, and at least one yak to argue with before lunch. The morning chill hasn't left yet, but your breath is no longer puffing out in clouds. It's mellowed into a soft haze as the sun begins to nudge above the horizon. The grass is brittle with frost, crunching faintly beneath your boots as you step toward the small wooden table outside the ger. It wobbles, always has, and holds the essentials: a chipped bowl, a knife with half a handle, and a skin of something vaguely resembling tea. Breakfast time. You pour yourself a ladle of the leftover stew from last night, mostly fat, a few suspicious chunks of bone, and a lot of flavor. It's not glamorous, but it'll stick to your ribs and keep the wind from slicing through you quite so fast. Mongolian breakfasts aren't about elegance. They're about surviving a climate that actively seems to resent your presence. And next to your bowl, steaming gently, sits a piece of fried dough, slightly stale. But it'll do. You dunk it in the tea, chew slowly, and stare out over the land. You know this view better than your own reflection. Hills roll out like a rumpled blanket, stitched with the faint lines of animal tracks and wind-scoured paths. No fences, no street signs, just sky and earth and the slow-moving herds that make it all work. As you eat, your falcon shifts again. She's watching you. Though her eyes are covered with the hood, she can hear you, sense your movement, even smell the milk in your cup. Falcons might not fetch your slippers or bark at strangers, but they miss nothing. Once your belly's warm, it's time to see to her. You wipe your hands, shake the stiffness from your fingers, and crouch by her perch. Her feathers shimmer even in the weak morning light, layered in shades of gray and bronze, like hammered metal. There's something ancient about her, something that reminds you she's only here by choice. You don't own a falcon. You ask politely, every single day, and hope for the best. You whisper to her, like always, not because she needs it, but because it feels right. You compliment her tail feathers, comment on her mood, and apologize in advance for the bumpy ride ahead. She doesn't respond. She's a professional. Back inside the jur, your family is stirring. Someone's coughing. Someone's snoring. The youngest, a toddler, is already crawling toward the fire with a piece of cheese in hand. Family life and falconry may seem like strange bedfellows, But out here, they blend like tea and butter, surprising at first, but oddly functional. There's a quiet agreement among falconers bird first, family second, not because you don't love them, but because a hungry falcon is not a problem you want mid hunt. You check her Jess, those thin leather straps tied to her legs. Still strong, still secure, though they're fraying a little where she's been chewing. Again, you'll need to repair that soon, or you'll be explaining to your neighbors how your bird is now their bird. You slip the glove on thick felt, worn at the seams, and gently unfasten the tether. She steps onto your arm like it's her throne, and it kind of is. She weighs less than a bag of rice, but has the presence of an emperor. Her talons dig into the glove just enough to remind you who's in charge. The leather hood still covers her eyes, and with it, she's calm, alert, but quiet. It's like putting your phone in airplane mode. She's still on, but not reacting to every squirrel that breathes. Historians still argue whether falconers developed this gentle, ritualistic care purely for practical reasons, or if there was a spiritual aspect to it, some kind of shamanic respect for the birds that ruled the skies. You can't speak for all your ancestors, but for you it feels sacred, like brushing the mane of a dream. You give her a tiny snack, a sliver of yesterday's meat, dried and slightly questionable. She snatches it without thanks, then settles in again. You grin. She's in a good mood today, probably, as you prepare for the next steps, feeding the pony. Securing your gear, you glance up. A hawk circles high above, barely more than a speck. Your falcon stiffens at the motion. Even blindfolded, she can sense competition. You murmur something to soothe her, something only falconers say, a mix of promise and flattery, and maybe just a hint of bribery. You finish the last sips of tea, cold by now, and slap your mittens against your thighs. It's going to be a long day, the kind of day where the sky feels closer than your own thoughts, the kind where wind tangles your beard, or your braids, or whatever combination you're sporting these days, until you're spitting out strands with every other word. Your family waves you off, already busy with the morning chores. The toddler tries to follow, dragging a tiny wool mitten, but is redirected with surprising efficiency by your oldest. You grin again. Herding toddlers is good falconer training. Your bird flaps once, then settles. She's ready, and so are you. The steppe is calling, and it doesn't like to wait. The sky is brighter now, pale blue, stretching out like a drumhead, taut and endless. You step into it, your falcon perched proudly on your gloved arm, her hood still in place, her weight a steady reminder of the bond you've built. She trusts you enough to fly miles and return. Maybe. But before you go galloping off into some windswept adventure, there's the small matter of your gur. Even a nomadic falconer has to tidy up before disappearing for the day. You squint back at it, round, low to the ground, wrapped tight in layers of felt, and hide it looks like it's been there forever. And if you leave it in a mess, someone inside will let you know. You duck back in. The fire is low again, flickering just enough to keep the cold from biting your toes off. Your spouse, half asleep, half annoyed, tosses you a look that translates loosely to, "You're not sneaking out until you sweep." You don't argue, Mongolian marriage, like falconry, thrives on mutual respect and the occasional chore avoidance strategy. You grab the broom, really just a bound bundle of reeds, and start sweeping. The floor is mostly packed earth, but over time it gathers dust, hair, crumbs, and tiny feathers that could only belong to your bird. She molts like a drama queen every spring. The toddler laughs from the sleeping corner and throws a bone at you. You thank them for the gift. It's that kind of morning. While you sweep, your falcon waits outside, tethered briefly to the small wooden perch by the door. She doesn't mind. In fact, she probably appreciates a break from your constant mumbling. Outside the jur, the camp is slowly coming to life. A nearby neighbor walks past, leading a shaggy sheep by a rope, muttering curses under his breath. Someone else is boiling tea over a fire pit. Smoke rises lazily into the cold morning air, curling upward as if it's in no rush either. You finish your sweeping duties and toss the gathered mess out the door with a practiced flick. It scatters into the wind. You don't look back. That counts as clean. Now for the water skins. You check the main skin near the fire. It's mostly full. Thanks to yesterday's icy trip to the stream, you give it a quick pat. Still heavy. Good. You scan your supplies. Small pouch of dried meat. Check. Extra jest strap in case your bird gets frisky. Check. Emergency snacks for you, 2 chunks of cheese and a fistful of sweetened millet. Barely edible, but better than nothing. You're not planning to be out all day. But falcons don't hunt on a schedule. They operate on mood. You step outside again, shading your eyes. Your pony is grazing nearby, nose buried in a patch of frost-kissed grass. He lifts his head and stares at you like he knows what's coming and disapproves. Horses on the steppe are small, sturdy, and blessed with a bottomless grudge-holding capacity. You grab the saddle from its post, rough leather, slightly cracked, and hoist it onto the pony's back. He shifts his weight, testing you. You grunt. He grunts back. It's a ritual. While you tighten the girth, your falcon gives a faint whistle. It's low and questioning, like she's wondering whether you've remembered her special riding perch. You have. It's a custom piece, lashed to the saddle's front bow just wide enough for her feet, wrapped in soft hide for comfort. She'll ride there until it's time to fly. Historians still argue whether early steppe cultures invented this saddle perch themselves or borrowed it from Persian falconers. Either way, it works. Your bird's talons dig into it like she was born there. She hops onto it with minimal coaxing. Progress. You remember when she used to bite you just for looking at her wrong. Character development. You mount the pony carefully, easing into the stiff leather. The stirrups are short, made for standing as much as sitting, and your knees already regret every decision made so far. The wind picks up, tugging at your coat and whispering in your ear. Somewhere out in the distance, a pair of cranes call out a slow, echoing duet that rolls across the steppe like a song half remembered. You click your tongue and nudge the pony forward. He obeys. Reluctantly, you're off. The land stretches out in every direction, gently rolling hills, tufts of yellowed grass, the occasional blur of animal tracks crossing the earth like hidden signatures. Your falcon rides quietly, feathers ruffling now and then, head twitching toward sounds only she can hear. There's something deeply peaceful about this moment. No hurry, no destination. Exactly, just the rhythm of hoofbeats and the weight of a bird who might, at any second, decide you're boring and fly off into the horizon. But for now, she stays. For now, you glide forward together, bound by the trust you built one long, patient day at a time. Your pony picks his way through the grass with a sort of resigned dignity, hooves crunching over frozen clumps of soil as though each one is a personal offense. You can't blame him. The morning sun might be up, but it's not doing much warming just yet. The wind still cuts sideways, tugging at the corner of your coat and slipping cold fingers down your collar. You glance at your falcon. She's still calm, hooded, perched like a queen surveying her slowly moving throne. Her feathers ruffle slightly in the breeze, but she doesn't so much as chirp. Not yet. That'll come later when she knows it's time. As you ride, the steppe unfolds ahead of you. No roads, no landmarks, except the occasional pile of rocks or a weathered tree twisted by years of wind. Yet you know exactly where you're going, not by compass or GPS, but by gut, by instinct, and also by the fact that you've been riding this same patch of land since before your knees stopped growing. You pass a familiar boulder shaped vaguely like a sleeping yak and steer the pony to the left. There's a flat stretch just beyond, perfect for the falcon's first test flight of the day. You slow the pony to a halt and dismount, boots thudding softly onto the stiff earth. The falcon tilts her head, sensing the shift. You feel it too, something quiet and electric in the air, like static just before a storm. Only it's anticipation. She knows what comes next. You slip your gloved hand under her breast, steadying her gently as you reach up to unfasten the tiny leather buttons on her hood. It's a delicate task, too fast, and she spooks. Too slow, and she gets fidgety. You find the middle rhythm, always the rhythm. With a soft flick, the hood slips off. Her eyes blink once, bright, sharp, gold ringed and ancient. They lock onto the horizon instantly. That gaze could cut steel, could shame a dinner guest into silence. It sees everything, probably even your childhood secrets. You let her sit for a moment, taking in the scene. A small breeze ruffles her wing feathers. She shifts, adjusts her talons, and then stills. Perfect focus. And then you lift your arm just slightly, just enough. She launches. It's silent, eerily so. No squawk, no rustle, just the sudden absence of weight and the whoosh of wings cutting through air. She lifts into the sky like she belongs there, which, of course, she does. You tilt your head back and follow her flight path. She circles once, wide and slow, testing the wind, testing herself, testing you. Historians still argue whether these flights were primarily about food or about performance, whether falconry was for practical hunting or ceremonial display. You'd argue it's both. Sure, you want her to catch something, but watching her fly like that, that's the reward all on its own. She tilts her wings and arcs downward, then lifts again, playing with currents you can't even feel. She's not hunting yet, just warming up, like an athlete stretching before a race, or a dancer marking her steps. You whistle, short and low. She hears it, even at this distance, doesn't react. Not visibly, but you know she filed that away. You're still on her radar. Your pony snorts behind you. You turn briefly to see him trying and failing to eat a shrub made entirely of thorns. You consider helping, but he gives you a look that says he'd prefer to suffer in peace. Back to the sky. Your falcon climbs higher now, drawing lazy spirals against the pale blue. Her wings shimmer in the sunlight, each feather a precise, aerodynamic miracle. You once spent a whole evening pulling cactus spines out of her tail after she misjudged a landing. She didn't speak to you for 2 days, which, yes, is impressive for a creature with no lips. You keep your eyes on her, your body still, every muscle quiet. If you even sneeze right now, she might interpret it as a cue to dive. And while you'd love to see her snatch a ground squirrel out of thin air, the only available target at the moment appears to be your own left boot. After several minutes of soaring, she dips low, testing her balance, maybe, or just showing off. You get it. Then, with a sudden flick, she banks and glides back toward you low and steady. You raise your arm again, whistling twice now, a different signal. This one says, "Come home." And she does. She touches down like a whisper, talons curling into the leather glove with the casual confidence of someone who knows they were missed. You exhale a breath you didn't know you were holding. She nips at your sleeve just once, a love bite. If falcons had such things, you reward her with a strip of meat held between two fingers. She snatches it with practiced precision, then settles back into her perch, eyes sharp, breathing steady. There it is, the bond. Not just control, not domination, but trust. You gave her the sky, and she chose to return for now. Anyway, the wind shifts again, carrying with it the distant sound of hooves, maybe a neighbor riding out, or a wandering goat taking its morning constitutional. You tuck the hood back into your pouch and glance at the sun. Still early. You mount your pony once more, falcon in place. Time to find a proper target. This morning flight was just the beginning. You nudge the pony forward, and he responds with the enthusiasm of a teen asked to do chores slow, dramatic, but cooperative enough to avoid an argument. The falcon shifts slightly on her perch as you start moving again, balancing with the grace of something born to ride the air, not a horse with questionable balance on uneven terrain. The wind has calmed now, a quiet breeze trailing along your side like a curious dog. The step rolls gently ahead of you, grass tufts catching the sunlight, and you aim toward a spot you know well, an open glade between two shallow hills where hares like to test their luck, and where you like to test your falcon's reflexes. You take your time getting there, partly because your pony has decided casual stroll is today's only speed, and partly because there's no real rush. Out here, nature doesn't work on a tight schedule, neither do you. As you ride, you pass a herd of goats lazing in a patch of dry grass. One of them lifts its head, stares at you blankly, then promptly resumes chewing, clearly unimpressed by your falcon, your saddle, or your general existence. Goats are not your fan base. Just beyond the herd, you spot something less common tracks. Small, clustered prints leading toward a rocky outcrop. Rabbit, maybe, or something rabbit sized and equally edible. You make a mental note. The pony plods on. His tail flicks now and then, possibly for drama, possibly because he's thinking of joining the goat herd permanently. You reassure him with a pat, which he ignores. The falcon, though, is alert now, even with her hood on. You can feel her pulse quicken, her body vibrating ever so slightly. She knows a hunt is near, knows it the way you know when someone's sneaking snacks in another room. You bring the pony to a halt near a rise, dismounting carefully so as not to jostle the bird. She stays poised, the embodiment of silent readiness. You guide her to your arm again and step away from the horse, scanning the brushy patches for movement. Nothing. Yet, you crouch low, your boots crunching against frost-nipped grass, and remove the falcon's hood once more. Her eyes flash open. This time, she doesn't need a pause to adjust. She knows this spot, knows the game. You lift your arms steady, deliberate, and whisper a command that doesn't mean much to anyone else, but carries weight between you two. She launches again. This time, she doesn't play. She soars high and then sweeps low, zigzagging with sudden speed as her eyes scan every shadow and tuft of grass below. You track her the whole way, shielding your eyes with one hand. Her flight is faster this time, more intense. You almost feel bad for whatever unfortunate rodent happens to be out for a snack. And their movement, a flash of white against the brown, a hare darting through the brush. Your falcon sees it before you do. She tucks her wings, drops like a falling star. Silence, then a faint thud. You jog toward the spot, your pony watching with faint horror, or perhaps mild interest. When you reach the falcon, she's already there, crouched triumphantly over her prey. The hare twitches once, then stills. A clean catch, swift, painless. If rabbits could vote on such things. You crouch beside her, murmuring low praise as you gently take the prey and offer a reward. In exchange, a trade she accepts with a regal sniff. Not exactly grateful, but tolerant. You've done this dance before. Historians still debate the role of falconry in steppe diets. Some say it was more symbolic than sustenance-based, more sport than necessity. But when your herd is low and winter is long, even one hare can mean one more day with a warm stew and full belly. So symbolic or not, you'll take the win. As she eats her reward, you check her wings, her eyes, her legs. No damage, no strain, still sharp, still elegant. You can't help but smile. You raised her well, or at least, you didn't raise her poorly enough for her to abandon you permanently. You wrap the hair in a cloth pouch and slip it into your saddlebag. The falcon hops onto your glove without hesitation, her feathers slightly puffed, her energy high. One hunt down, perhaps another to come. Your pony greets you with a loud sigh when you return an equine complaint that somehow manages to sound personal. You mount up again, this time with a little more bounce in your step. The falcon settles onto her perch, licking her beak, clearly feeling herself. You guide the pony down toward a stream you know lies a few minutes off. It's barely a trickle in winter, but there's a flat space nearby that's perfect for a break. The kind of spot that makes you feel like you're not just hunting, but living a page out of a much older story. And you are this routine wake, ride, hunt, return. It's older than most cities, older than roads. It's the quiet heartbeat of a nomadic world. And today, with the sky wide above you and your falcon riding proud at your side, you're part of it. Not bad for a morning's work. The stream comes into view just as your pony starts hinting, not subtly, that he deserves a break. He snorts, tosses his head once, and angles himself downhill like a seasoned tour guide who knows where all the snack stops are. You let him. After all, he did walk almost half a mile today. Heroic effort. The stream is thin this time of year, a lazy trickle over dark stones, but it's water, and that's always worth stopping for. The banks are edged with stiff grass and a few scattered shrubs, and the whole place has that hush you only get in the middle of nowhere, a quiet so deep it hums in your bones. You dismount with a soft grunt. Your knees have already started a slow protest, and give your pony a gentle pat. He wanders over to the edge of the water, snuffling at the stream like he's evaluating its performance before committing. Your falcon, still perched proudly on your glove, shifts her weight. You can feel the subtle flex of muscle through the glove's thick layers. She's not tired, not really, but there's a certain restlessness in her movements now, a post hunt glow. She's not likely to go again immediately, but it doesn't hurt to be ready. You walk a few paces away from the stream and find a flat rock to sit on. It's cold, but solid, and you welcome the chance to take the weight off your legs. You stretch one booted foot out in front of you and glance around. No other riders in sight, just the steady drip of water, the occasional rustle of wind in the grass, and your pony doing his best impression of a horse-shaped sponge. You lower your falcon onto a portable perch. You roll out of your gear pouch a crossbar on two wooden stakes. Light but sturdy. She steps onto it without drama, gives you a single judging look, and fluffs her feathers into a ball of smug contentment. You take a deep breath. Out here, even the air tastes old, like wind and memory, as you sip from your water skin and pull out a piece of cheese that's more survival tool than snack. You start to think about the long chain of falconers who came before you, not just in Mongolia, but all across Central Asia and even far beyond. Historians still argue where falconry truly began. Was it the Kazakh steppes, Persia, maybe even ancient China? There are scrolls and carvings, pottery and bone tools, all hinting at different starting points. But everyone agrees on one thing: falconry is ancient. And the feeling you have now, this quiet bond between person and bird that hasn't changed in 1,000 years. Your falcon starts to preen, raking her beak carefully down each wing feather. It's part grooming, part ritual. She always does this after a successful hunt. You smile and watch, wondering not for the first time how much of her behavior is instinct and how much is sheer attitude. She finishes one wing and stretches, slowly, with an exaggerated yawn of feathers. It's dramatic. She knows you're watching. The pony, meanwhile, has somehow managed to get his head stuck in a bush. Again, you don't help. He'll figure it out. You lean back on your rock and close your eyes just for a moment. The sunlight filters through your lashes, warm and bright despite the chill. You can hear your falcon fussing with her tail feathers and your pony making snorting noises of ambiguous intent. Somewhere nearby, a marmot whistles sharp and sudden, maybe warning the others about your bird, or maybe just gossiping. Your fingers brush the pouch at your side, where the hair is still wrapped tightly. That'll go into the stew tonight. A welcome break from yesterday's dried meat medley. You can almost taste it already rich and gamey, simmered with onions if you're lucky enough to trade for some. And if the pot doesn't boil over this time, the falcon lets out a low chirp, barely a sound. You open your eyes. She's staring at something in the distance, a flicker of movement too faint for you to notice. But she sees it. Of course she does. You whisper a few calming words and offer her a finger to step back onto your glove. She declines. Clearly, she's enjoying her break more than you are. So you sit, and for a long moment, you don't move at all. This, right here, this moment of stillness, of doing absolutely nothing while the world breathes around you, is one of the finest parts of falconry. The in between, the pause, the hum of wind across old earth. You finally stand, stretching your back with an audible crack. Your pony looks up, startled, apparently convinced that the ride was over forever. You gather your gear, carefully coax your falcon back to her perch, and give the bush-bound horse a gentle tug. He emerges with leaves in his mane and the kind of expression that suggests it was all intentional. You take one last look around before you start riding again. The stream gurgles softly behind you. Your bird watches the sky. The grass waves like an old friend, and the day is still young. You and your pony climb the next low ridge at a gentle pace, the falcon steady on her perch, feathers smoothing with the wind. From the top, the view spills wide grassland, stretching out in every direction. Distant herds, like freckles on the landscape, and smoke tendrils curling from far-off gers that look, from here, like pale buttons sewn into the earth. This is the kind of view that makes maps feel like lies. You could ride for hours, days even, and never cross the same path twice. And still, somehow, you'd always know your way home. Your falcon shifts again, tail twitching in tiny, elegant jerks. You talk to her softly, like you always do, half joke, half lullaby. Don't get any ideas. You mutter, no solo missions today. She ignores you. That's fair. You guide the pony toward a patch of scrub and gopher holes you remember from last season. It's not much to look at, mostly dirt, grass tufts, and a smell that suggests several creatures have made some unfortunate decisions here, but it's good hunting ground. As you approach, your eyes scan for motion, a flash of fur, a twitch of an ear, anything that says target. Nothing yet. You slide down from the saddle again, land softly, and take the falcon in hand. She steps onto your glove with that same practiced grace, and you feel her weight settle, light but commanding. You know her rhythm by now when she's ready to fly, and when she's just stretching her wings for the drama. You kneel slightly to give her better altitude, her eyes narrow, scanning the scrub. Still nothing. And then movement, subtle, a tiny jerk of brown, quick and low to the ground. You feel her tense before you even see it clearly. You whisper a word her word and raise your arm. She leaps. This time, she slices through the air low, skimming the earth with her wings, just inches above the dirt. The speed is shocking every time, like watching an arrow with feathers think for itself. You jog forward, eyes locked on her flight path. She swerves, twists, then climbs, then drops. A squeal brief, and then silence. You reach her within moments. She's crouched again, victorious. This one's smaller, just a rodent, barely the size of your fist, but she holds it like it's a dragon. You crouch beside her, murmuring thanks, and trade her prize for another scrap of dried meat. She takes it graciously. A good hunt, even if the meal is more symbolic than filling. And now you decide it's time for a longer break. Not just because your pony is already grazing without permission, or because your falcon has done well today, but because, if you're honest, you're starting to feel your knees in that special way that only comes from crouching on cold dirt too often. You guide everyone back to a small hollow near a cluster of rocks. You recognize this spot. This is where, last spring, your falcon tried to chase a bird twice her size and ended up tangled in a shrub for 10 embarrassing minutes. You smile at the memory. She does not. You roll out a small blanket, just enough for sitting, and settle down with your gear. The sun is climbing now, and its warmth is welcome. You pull out the last of your snacks and offer a crumb to your falcon, who turns her head slowly, like she's offended by the suggestion. Typical. Your pony wanders a few paces off and finds a patch of dry grass he seems genuinely thrilled about. He begins eating with dramatic chewing sounds, like he's auditioning for a role. The quiet settles in again, the kind of hush that's full, not empty. You hear birds overhead, real ones, free ones, not trained assassins like your companion. They cry out in sharp bursts, wheeling in wide circles far above your reach. You lie back briefly on the blanket, arms under your head, falcon nearby, sky stretching endless above. The air smells like dry grass, old firewood, and the faint musk of pony, a perfume you've come to weirdly appreciate. Historians still argue whether nomadic falconers had time for these rests, whether a day's rhythm allowed for such luxuries. But out here, where no bells ring, no bosses shout, and your only real schedule is the hunger of a bird, yes, there is time, and you use it well. You drift for a while, not quite asleep, but not fully alert either. Just there, just being. The sun moves slowly overhead. Your falcon naps too, beak tucked into her feathers, occasionally opening one eye to check for anything interesting. Eventually, you sit back up and stretch. The day is wearing on, but the light's still good. Maybe one more ride, maybe not. The hunt's been successful, and you're not greedy. Besides, you've got to get back before your family starts worrying, or worse, starts eating without you. You retether the falcon gently. She steps onto her perch again, flexes her wings once, and gives you a look that says she's willing to forgive your lazy midday nap. Just this once. You whistle to the pony, who pretends not to hear you, then reluctantly plods back over. The wind rises again as you mount, and the steppe stretches out before you. ready for the return journey. You set off again, the pony's hooves stirring up small clouds of dust that float gently in the late morning air. The falcon perches quietly, alert but calm, her feathers ruffling softly with every movement. You settle into the rhythm of riding, the steady trot soothing in its repetition like a slow song that's been playing since time began. As you ride, you notice the subtle shifts in the landscape. The grass here is taller, flecked with tiny wildflowers you wouldn't expect this far north. A small stream snakes through the valley below, glinting like a silver ribbon. You imagine what it must be like in spring, when the whole steppe bursts alive with color and sound. The pony grumbles softly, possibly complaining about the lack of snacks. You give him a pat, assuring him you haven't forgotten the treats stashed away in your saddlebag. He snorts, unconvinced. Your falcon, meanwhile, seems to be watching something far off to the east. You follow her gaze, but all you see is the endless wave of grass and sky. Out here, the horizon is a living thing, constantly shifting with the light and wind. You remember a story you heard from an elder once about how Mongolian falconers believed their birds could see spirits on the horizon, messages from ancestors carried on the wind. You chuckle softly, whether true or not. It adds a bit of magic to an already remarkable bond. As you ride, you spot a group of marmots popping their heads out of burrows, their tiny noses twitching as they scan for danger. They seem unimpressed by your presence, which is fair. Most creatures here have bigger concerns than a lone falconer and his horse. You pull the pony to a slow walk and raise your arm, giving your falcon the signal. She shifts, lifting her head and stretching her wings slightly. You feel the familiar buzz of anticipation. Historians still debate how much falconry was a daily necessity versus a status symbol among the steppe nomads. Some argue it was essential for survival. Others see it as a refined sport reserved for the elite. You're inclined to think it was a bit of both, a practical skill wrapped in tradition and pride. The falcon launches into the air again, her wings beating with steady power. She circles wide, eyes sharp and focused. You watch her climb higher, a silhouette against the vast blue sky, before she suddenly folds her wings and drops like a feathered arrow. You track her descent, heart quickening with excitement. This moment when predator and prey dance in a blur of motion is the essence of your day. A rustle in the grass, a quick darting movement, and then she's back, talons gripping a small bird, her catch swift and sure. You dismount to retrieve her prize, praising her softly as she accepts her reward. The pony watches with mild interest, as if thinking, well, I could do that if I had wings. You mount again, feeling a quiet satisfaction settle over you. The steppe stretches out endlessly, and with your falcon by your side, you feel connected to something timeless, a tradition that has carried on through centuries of wind, sun, and sky. You guide your pony toward the camp, the familiar shapes of gurs appearing like welcoming islands in the sea of grass. The day's hunt is done, but the story of the falconer continues. As you approach the camp, the familiar sights and sounds begin to greet you, a faint wisp of smoke curling from the fire pit, the soft murmur of voices carried on the breeze, and the clatter of pots and pans in preparation for the evening meal. Your pony quickens his step, eager to be free of the saddle and into the warmth of the herd. You ease yourself down and untether the falcon from her perch, allowing her to step onto your gloved hand. She gives a soft, approving chirp, as if happy to be home as well. The camp feels like a small village in the vast wilderness, a place of stories, laughter, and shared hardship. You hear the laughter of children chasing each other around the gers, their voices light against the steady rhythm of the wind. You catch sight of your family gathering near the fire, faces glowing in the late afternoon light. Your mother waves you over, holding out a warm bowl of fermented mare's milk kumis, the traditional drink that both refreshes and soothes the body after a long day. You settle near the fire, the falcon perched quietly on a nearby stand, eyes half closed in contentment. The pony nuzzles at a pile of fresh grass, finally relaxed after the day's exertions. As the sun dips lower, the shadows grow long, and the camp settles into a gentle lull. Stories will soon be told, tales of past hunts, of ancestors who roamed these lands, of the spirits said to watch over the steppe. You sip the kumis, its tangy flavor warming your throat. It's a taste that speaks of home, of tradition, and of a life lived in harmony with the wild. Historians still debate the precise role of falconry in Mongolian social life, whether it was a daily survival tool, a sign of wealth and status, or a bit of both. But in moments like this, surrounded by family and the fading light, it feels less like history and more like living poetry. Your falcon shifts her feathers, eyes bright despite the approaching dusk. You know tomorrow will bring another day of riding, hunting, and quiet companionship. For now, you lean back, watching the stars begin to appear tiny pinpricks of light in the vast sky, much like the flicker of a bird's eye as it scans the horizon. And with that thought, you close your eyes, letting the calm of the steppe wrap around you like a soft blanket. The night deepens and the camp quiets down. Only the crackle of the fire and the occasional low murmur of voices remain, blending softly with the whispers of the wind through the grass. You sit wrapped in a warm woolen cloak, the familiar scent of felt and earth grounding you. Your falcon settles into her hood, a finely crafted leather piece that keeps her calm and still during rest. The craftsmanship is beautiful, something passed down through generations, practical yet elegant. It's a small thing, but it feels like a promise that this connection between you and the bird will endure. The pony stands nearby, his breath puffing clouds into the chilly air. He nuzzles your sleeve as if to remind you that despite his moments of obstinance, he's loyal to the end. You lean back against the side of a gyr, gazing up at the stars. The constellations spread wide, ancient and unchanged, offering a map not just of the sky, but of countless journeys before yours. There's a quiet magic here, in the silence between the sounds, a space where history, nature, and tradition blend seamlessly. It's the kind of magic that doesn't shout, but whispers a lullaby for the soul. You recall tales from elders about the spiritual bond falconers share with their birds. Some say the falcon carries the soul of the hunter's ancestors, Others believe the birds themselves are messengers from the sky. Historians still argue about how much of this is myth and how much is deeply rooted belief. You find comfort in the mystery. Some questions, after all, are better left unanswered. The fire flickers, casting dancing shadows that play on the felt walls. You close your eyes briefly, feeling the weight of the day melt away, replaced by a calm that's rare and precious. Tomorrow promises more riding, more hunting, and more moments shared in this vast landscape that has shaped your life. For now, you breathe deeply, listening to the steady rhythm of the steppe night. The cold night air has a way of sharpening your senses. Even as your body begins to relax, you notice the faint rustling of dried grass nearby, and your falcon stirs beneath her hood. She's not fully awake, just alert enough to catch the subtle shifts in the environment, a skill honed over centuries. You remember that falconry was not just about hunting, it was a way to read the land. The birds were eyes in the sky, telling stories of the weather, of other animals, even of approaching travelers. Some say that the birds were the original GPS, long before compasses or maps. You smile at the thought. It's a bit poetic, isn't it? That your bird is both a companion and a guide. The pony shifts his weight, making a soft snorting sound. You rub behind his ears, feeling the roughness of his mane. He's rugged and stubborn, just like you'd expect from a steppe horse, not the fastest or the flashiest, but reliable and loyal, which, frankly, is more than you can say for some people. A few moments of stillness follow, and you let your mind wander back to the day's hunt. The sharp dive of your falcon, the rustling bushes, the quiet triumph of the catch. There's a rhythm to it, a dance between patience and sudden action. You realize it's much like life on the steppe itself. Historians still debate the exact origins of Mongolian falconry, but most agree it dates back over 1,000 years. Evolving alongside the nomadic lifestyle, it's a tradition that's as much about respect for the bird, the land, and the prey as it is about skill. You glance at your falcon, still resting peacefully. There's a trust between you that words can't capture. You lean back again, eyes tracing the constellations. The stars remind you of old stories of warriors, shamans, and travelers who cross these very plains under the same night sky. A sudden breeze carries the faint scent of wildflowers and distant wood smoke. You breathe it in deeply. It's a reminder that, no matter how vast the steppe feels, there is always a connection to place, to history, and to the quiet moments in between. The dawn tiptoes softly over the horizon, painting the steppe in gentle shades of pink and gold. You awaken with the faint chill still clinging to the air, your falcon already alert beneath her hood. The pony stands nearby, ready and waiting, ears flicking with the first sounds of morning. You stretch slowly, muscles still a little stiff from yesterday's ride, and savor the peacefulness of early day. There's a certain hush before the world fully wakes up, a time when even the wind seems to hold its breath. Your morning routine begins with tending to your falcon. You lift the hood carefully, revealing sharp, curious eyes that blink sleepily into the new light. She preens herself methodically, feathers smoothing into place like a ritual both practical and sacred. You prepare a small meal for her, bits of dried meat reserved for moments like this. She takes the food with delicate grace, her beak precise and sure. It's a quiet exchange that speaks volumes, trust and care, passed back and forth without need for words. Your pony munches on fresh grass nearby, seemingly content to graze and wait. You pat his neck and feel a flicker of gratitude. Life out here isn't easy for any of you, but there's a simplicity that's oddly comforting. The morning air fills with birdsong larks and wagtails calling to one another across the open plains. You listen for a moment, letting the melody settle in. Historians still debate whether the Mongol falconers developed specialized calls or signals to communicate with their birds beyond the visible gestures. Some suggest subtle whistles and clicks were used, while others believe the bond was mostly built on patient observation. Whatever the truth, you know that communication is key not just with the falcon, but with the land, the pony, and the rhythms of the day. You mount your pony as the sun climbs higher, feeling the warmth spread across your back. The falcon settles on your gloved hand, ready for whatever this new day will bring. The steppe is alive again, waiting for your next story to unfold. You guide your pony into a steady walk, feeling the familiar sway of his gait beneath you. The morning sun casts long shadows across the grass, sparkling with dew like scattered diamonds. The falcon shifts lightly on your glove, sensing the day's first stirrings. As you ride, you notice a flock of cranes taking flight in the distance, their wings beating a slow, rhythmic drum. Their migration is a reminder that life here is deeply connected to the cycles of nature, seasons guiding movement, food, and survival. You think about how falconers and their birds fit into this delicate balance. The falcon doesn't just hunt, she's part of the ecosystem, both predator and participant in a dance that has repeated for centuries. Your pony's breath comes in steady puffs as you climb a gentle rise, revealing a wide valley shimmering under the morning light. The grass ripples like a sea, endless and open. You imagine how different this land must have looked to your ancestors, untouched and wild, with only the whispers of the wind for company. You recall a quirky tidbit about Mongolian falconry. Some falconers used eagle feathers in their hats to honor the bird's majesty and to invoke good luck. The symbolism ran deep, blending practicality with spiritual reverence. Historians still argue whether these feathered adornments were purely decorative or had a protective function against evil spirits. Either way, it's clear that falconry was as much about tradition and identity as it was about hunting. Your falcon suddenly tenses, wings fluttering briefly. You scan the horizon and spot movement near a rocky outcrop, a herd of marmots scurrying busily about their day. You signal to your bird, who launches gracefully into the sky, folding into a precise dive. The moment feels suspended in time, the quiet pulse of wings, the sudden rush of air, the delicate balance between patience and action. It's the kind of moment that makes you forget the world beyond the steppe. As your falcon returns, talons empty this time, you smile. Not every hunt ends with a catch, but every flight teaches something new. The day stretches ahead, full of possibility and quiet wonder. The afternoon sun warms your back as you follow a winding trail through the steppe grasses. The pony's hooves drum softly on the earth, a steady beat that blends with the gentle rustling of leaves from a nearby grove. You feel the satisfying crunch of dry grass beneath your boots as you dismount to give your mount a brief rest. Your falcon perches patiently on your gloved hand, head cocked slightly to one side, as if curious about the shifting landscape. The smell of wild herbs mingles with the faint scent of distant smoke, a reminder that other nomads might be nearby, going about their own routines. You settle down against a smooth rock, letting the warmth seep into your skin. It's the kind of moment that feels both timeless and fleeting, a pause in the flow of a day spent weaving through history and nature. There's a quiet hum in the air, the kind that settles when life slows down enough to notice the small things, the flutter of a butterfly's wings, the faint chatter of insects, the distant call of a lone wolf. You smile softly, appreciating the gentle orchestra. You remember reading about the medicinal uses of local plants by Mongolian nomads, how they brewed teas from wild herbs to soothe tired muscles or calm restless nights. Historians still debate the exact recipes, but it's clear that the natural world was a pharmacy as much as a home. Your falcon shakes her feathers, sending tiny droplets of water from an earlier bath glistening in the sun. You reach into your satchel and pull out a small piece of dried meat, offering it with a quiet good girl. As she nibbles, you think about how much of this life is a blend of hard work and gentle care, both for the animals and the land. The falcon depends on you as much as you depend on her, a relationship built on trust and patience. You glance up to see dark clouds gathering on the horizon. The wind picks up, carrying a coolness that promises a change in weather. It's a reminder that the step is unpredictable and readiness is key. You rise, settling the falcon back onto her perch. The pony neighs softly, sensing the shift. Together, you prepare to move on, embracing whatever stories the day still holds. A soft drizzle begins to fall, the gentle patter of raindrops creating a calming rhythm against your cloak and the pony's mane. The scent of wet earth rises, fresh and soothing, mingling with the faint aroma of pine from a nearby copse of trees. You pull your cloak tighter, feeling the cool moisture settle on your skin. Your falcon hunches slightly, feathers puffed up to catch the raindrops without losing warmth. She looks peaceful, unfazed by the change, a reminder that nature's moods are just part of the rhythm here. You guide the pony toward shelter beneath a cluster of sturdy trees, their branches offering a leafy canopy that muffles the rain's sound. You take a deep breath, appreciating this quiet moment amid the storm. There's a peculiar charm to the step in rain, the way the grass bends gracefully, the occasional flash of lightning far off, and the distant roll of thunder that seems to speak in an ancient language. You recall a lesser known fact. Some Mongolian falconers believed that rain was a blessing from the spirits, washing away the old and welcoming new beginnings. Historians still debate how widespread this belief was, or whether it varied among tribes. As the rain lightens, you take out a small piece of leather and gently wipe your falcon's beak, careful not to disturb her calm. She blinks up at you with those keen eyes, trust shining clear. Your pony shakes off the water, sending droplets flying, and you laugh softly at his indignation. Even the most stoic creatures have their moments. You settle down on a fallen log, the damp wood cool beneath your hands, and let your thoughts drift with the rain's rhythm. The step is a place of resilience, of adapting and enduring, much like the life you lead. As the clouds part and a soft light returns, you feel the promise of a new day emerging, ready to be written with more quiet stories and shared silences. You look to your falcon, to your pony, and to the wide open land, each a part of this ancient, unfolding tale. The rain has passed, leaving the earth glistening and the grass shimmering with droplets. You remount your pony, feeling the coolness linger in the air, but also a renewed freshness, as if the world has been gently cleansed. The falcon lifts her head, shaking off the last remnants of moisture, feathers catching the light like tiny jewels. You begin a slow trot toward a nearby river, its gentle babble growing louder with each step. The sound is soothing, a natural lullaby weaving through the landscape. You think about how water is life here, the river's a lifeline in the vast steppe, where survival often hinges on knowing where to find it. Your pony drinks deeply at the riverbank, while your falcon perches quietly on your glove, scanning the surroundings with sharp eyes. The scene feels peaceful, a perfect balance between stillness and readiness. You recall that falconers sometimes used rivers not just as water sources, but as hunting grounds, watching for waterfowl or other game drawn to the banks. There's an art to this, knowing when to move, when to wait, when to let the bird take the lead. Historians still debate the extent to which rivers influenced the nomads' migratory patterns, but most agree they were crucial markers and resources in the vast expanse. As you watch a pair of ducks glide effortlessly across the water, you feel a gentle connection to the cycle of life here, each creature playing its role, each moment a thread in the tapestry. Your falcon gives a soft call, and you prepare her hood, knowing the hunt might soon resume. The pony shifts beneath you, ears flicking forward, alert and eager. The steppe stretches wide, full of promise and quiet stories waiting to unfold. You take a deep breath and settle into the rhythm once more. The riverbank hums softly with life, the gentle ripple of water, the distant croak of frogs, and the flutter of leaves in a light breeze. You lower your falcon hood just enough to let her eyes catch the scene, alert and attentive. She's a perfect blend of grace and power, a creature shaped by millennia to master the skies. Your pony shifts, nostrils flaring as he picks up a scent carried on the wind. You stroke his neck reassuringly, feeling the steady beat of his heart beneath your hand. You scan the horizon, noting the gentle rise of hills in the distance. This is a good place for falconry open, with plenty of prey and enough cover to keep the hunt interesting. A few marmots peer curiously from their burrows, their little noses twitching as they watch the unusual visitors. They're quick and alert, often making the difference between a successful hunt and a missed opportunity. You remember a quirky fact: Mongolian falconers sometimes trained their birds to work alongside hunting dogs, a partnership that added another layer of strategy to the chase. Historians still debate how widespread this practice was, but it speaks to the ingenuity and adaptability of these nomadic people. Your falcon lifts off your glove smoothly, wings catching the breeze in a perfect arc. You watch her soar, a silent shadow against the bright sky. There's something hypnotic about the way she moves, powerful yet effortless, precise yet free. As she circles, you feel a profound sense of connection, not just with the bird, but with the land and history that have shaped this moment. It's a reminder that falconry is more than a skill, it's a conversation across time. Your pony snorts softly, nudging you gently. You laugh quietly, realizing he's reminding you not to get lost in daydreams. You settle deeper into your saddle, ready to follow wherever the hunt may lead next. The sun dips lower now, casting a warm golden glow across the steppe. Shadows stretch long and soft, folding the landscape into a gentle embrace. Your pony picks up a steady pace, the rhythmic thud of hooves blending with the evening chorus of insects and distant bird calls. Your falcon, still perched on your gloved hand, watches intently as the world shifts from day to dusk. The air cools, carrying with it the scent of wildflowers and fresh earth, a subtle perfume that feels both grounding and timeless. You recall a curious detail about Mongolian falconry. Some hunters believed the best time for hunting was just before dusk, when the animals were most active, but visibility was still good enough to track them. Historians still debate whether this was based on practical observation or tied to spiritual beliefs about the day's cycle. The pony snorts softly, nudging you as if to say, "Keep moving, friend." You smile and pat his neck, feeling the quiet companionship that has grown between you through shared days on the trail. A low breeze stirs the grasses, carrying whispers of stories told around fires long past. You imagine your ancestors, their voices blending with the crackle of flames, sharing tales of great hunts and close calls. Your falcon suddenly lifts off, wings catching the fading light in a shimmer of gold and brown. She glides with effortless grace, a silent hunter scanning the earth below. You watch her, a steady calm settling over you as the sky deepens into twilight. It's moments like these, simple, quiet, connected, that make the hardships of steppe life feel worthwhile. The pony slows to a gentle walk, and you lean back, letting the steady rhythm soothe your thoughts. Night is coming, bringing with it rest and renewal. You close your eyes briefly, breathing in the cool, fragrant air, feeling the pulse of the land beneath you. The steppe is vast, ancient, and full of gentle mysteries, just like the bond you share with your falcon. The first stars begin to twinkle faintly as the sky deepens into night. You feel the cool air settle softly around you, carrying the distant hoot of an owl and the gentle rustle of grass swaying in the breeze. The world seems to hold its breath in this quiet moment, as if waiting for the next chapter in your journey. Your falcon, now tucked beneath her hood again, rests lightly on your glove. The warmth of her feathers seeps through, a reassuring presence in the growing darkness. Your pony shifts beneath you, his breath visible in the chill night air. You reflect on the importance of night in Mongolian falconry. Hunting under the stars wasn't common, but the steppe's nomads relied on other nighttime rituals, setting campfires, sharing stories, and preparing gear for the coming day. Historians still argue about the extent of falconry activities after sunset, but all agree that the night was a time of rest and reflection. The cool breeze carries the faint scent of smoked meat, a reminder of meals shared around evening fires, where the day's efforts were celebrated in quiet contentment. You feel a gentle drowsiness creeping in, the kind that follows a day spent in rhythm with nature's pulse, the steady beat of your pony's heart, the soft breathing of your falcon, and the whispering step all lull you toward rest. Your thoughts drift to the strange little facts you've picked up along the way, like how some falconers used to decorate their gloves with intricate embroidery to honor the birds, or how certain songs were believed to calm the falcon's spirit. The pony shifts again, nudging you gently as if to say, "Time to settle down." You nod, knowing the day's end is near. You scan the horizon one last time, the vast darkness stretching endlessly, full of stars and quiet promises. The steppe sleeps, and so will you soon, carried by the soft pulse of ancient lands and timeless bonds. Night deepens, and the stars blanket the sky in a soft, shimmering quilt. The air cools further, crisp and still, carrying the faint scent of pine and earth settling into rest. Your pony stands quietly, head lowered, chewing on a handful of grass, while your falcon remains nestled comfortably beneath her hood, breathing steady and calm. You lean back against your saddle, eyes tracing the constellations above. The steppe seems to hum with a subtle energy, a silent testimony to the countless nights spent under this very sky by generations before you. You recall how Mongolian nomads used the stars not just for navigation, but also to mark time and seasons, guiding migrations, hunts, and festivals. Historians still debate the exact methods, but it's clear that celestial knowledge was woven deeply into daily life. A gentle breeze brushes your cheek, carrying with it a whispered promise of dreams and stories yet to be told. You think about the strange little customs surrounding falconry at night. Some falconers sang soft lullabies to their birds to soothe them before sleep, a practice whose origins remain a delightful mystery. The pony shifts, nudging your hand softly, as if sharing in the quiet reverence of the moment. You stroke his mane, feeling the rough texture against your palm, grounding you firmly in the here and now. Your thoughts drift to the camaraderie of campfires, how flames flickered and cast dancing shadows on weathered faces, how tales of great hunts and narrow escapes wove the fabric of community. As your eyelids grow heavy, you feel the deep, abiding peace that comes from a day well lived in harmony with nature. The night wraps around you like a soft blanket, the steppe's ancient heartbeat sinking gently with your own. You close your eyes, letting the vastness of the sky cradle you into restful sleep. The soft, steady rhythm of your pony's breathing and the gentle flutter of your falcon's wings lull you deeper into calm. Around you, the steppe lies silent and vast, bathed in the cool glow of moonlight that filters through scattered clouds. The earth beneath you feels solid and familiar, a quiet anchor in this moment, suspended between wakefulness and sleep. You let your mind wander back to the morning's early light, the promise it held, and the simple routines that shaped your day. There's a timeless quality to this life, a blend of solitude and companionship that hums beneath every step and every beat of wings. You remember a quirky tale from the old falconers. Some believed their birds could sense approaching storms and would become restless long before the wind shifted. Historians still debate whether this was keen observation or a touch of myth woven into tradition. The pony shifts, nudging your hand gently. You smile, appreciating the subtle communication shared without words, a partnership forged through patience and trust. Your falcon lets out a soft call, a reminder that even in rest, she remains alert, connected to the rhythms of the land and sky. You marvel at how this relationship blurs the line between human and nature, blending instinct with care. The night deepens further, stars flickering softly as if winking in encouragement. The cool air wraps around you like a whispered secret, inviting you to surrender to rest. You feel your body relax, muscles easing into the saddle, heart sinking with the quiet pulse of the step. In this peaceful space, the past and present mingle seamlessly, and the world outside fades to a gentle hum. You breathe deeply, letting the tranquility wash over you. A faint rustle stirs nearby as a small hare darts through the underbrush, its quick movements barely disturbing the calm of the night. You watch quietly, eyes adjusting to the dim moonlight, feeling the pulse of the wild around you, subtle and alive. Your falcon shifts on your glove, alert to the movement, but patient, trusting your calm presence. There's a rhythm here, a dance of predator and prey that's as old as the steppe itself. You think about the balance that falconry requires: respect for the bird's instincts, understanding of the land, and a gentle touch that never forces but encourages. A curious fact drifts through your mind. Some falconers believed that the falcon's shadow could protect against evil spirits, casting a quiet shield as it flew. Historians still debate how seriously these beliefs were taken, or if they were more poetic traditions. Your pony snorts softly, breaking your reverie, reminding you that even the quietest moments hold life and movement. You tighten your grip on the reins gently, feeling the steady warmth of the animal beneath you, a constant companion through sun and storm, dawn and dusk. The night air cools further, wrapping around your shoulders like a soft shawl. You inhale deeply, tasting the crisp freshness and letting it fill your lungs. The world feels expansive yet intimate, vast yet deeply personal, a place where stories unfold in whispers and silence. Your falcon lets out a soft, contented call, the sound almost like a sigh, and you smile. In this gentle moment, the steppe's ancient magic feels close, inviting you to rest in its timeless embrace. A gentle breeze stirs the tall grasses, sending a soft rustling wave across the steppe like a whispering tide. You lean forward slightly, feeling the cool air brush against your face, mingling with the faint warmth of your pony's breath. Your falcon watches the horizon, eyes bright even in the dim light, her feathers ruffling softly. There's a serene rhythm to her stillness, a patient readiness that feels almost meditative. You recall a lesser known tradition among Mongolian falconers before a hunt. They would sometimes sing low, soothing melodies to their birds, believed to strengthen the bond and calm the falcon's spirit. Historians still debate the exact origins, but it adds a poetic layer to the ancient practice. Your pony shifts his weight, ears flicking toward the distant call of a wolf, a reminder of the wild's ever present watchfulness. You tighten your grip on the reins, the familiar leather comforting against your palm. The steppe stretches endlessly, a sea of muted greens and browns, dotted with wildflowers that catch the moonlight like tiny lanterns. You breathe deeply, tasting the clean air, feeling connected to this vast, ancient place. A soft yawn escapes you as your body relaxes further, syncing with the natural lullaby of the night. The falcon settles more firmly on your glove, her breathing slow and steady. You think about the countless nights spent in this cycle of quiet and alertness, of trust and independence. It's a delicate balance, much like the falcon's flight itself, controlled yet free. As you lean back, the stars twinkle overhead, a vast canopy of light and stories, ancient and ongoing. You close your eyes briefly, letting the calm wash over you, feeling the gentle pulse of life all around. The steppe invites you to rest, to dream softly beneath its endless sky. A distant chorus of night birds echoes softly across the steppe, their calls weaving a delicate soundtrack beneath the vast sky. You shift slightly in the saddle, feeling the comforting weight of your falcon resting lightly on your glove, her feathers brushing gently against your skin. The pony stands quietly, muscles relaxed but ready, a loyal guardian through the shifting night. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the peaceful sounds wrap around you like a soft blanket. You think about the daily routines that define life here, how every gesture, every rhythm is tuned to the land's subtle cues. It's a world where patience and quiet observation are prized above haste or noise. Historians still debate the exact origins of Mongolian falconry, but most agree it's a tradition as old as the steppe itself, passed down through generations with reverence and care. A little known fact flickers in your mind. Some falconers believed that the birds could communicate with the spirits of the land, serving as messengers between worlds, whether myth or meaning. It adds a layer of mystery to the bond you share. The night air cools further, and you pull your cloak tighter around your shoulders. Your falcon shifts, giving a soft call a sound so gentle it feels like a secret whispered just for you. You smile, feeling a profound gratitude for this connection, the dance of life between human, horse, and bird. As the stars deepen their glow overhead, you settle into the slow pulse of the night, breathing in the timelessness of this moment. The steppe holds you gently, inviting you to rest and dream beneath its endless sky. The soft crunch of hooves against dry grass blends with the distant murmur of a night breeze. Your pony moves steadily, senses alert but calm, while your falcon perches serenely, eyes half closed, yet ever watchful. The quiet hum of the steppe night surrounds you, a soothing lullaby after a day spent weaving through the wild. You lean back, feeling the gentle sway of the saddle beneath you, syncing with the pony's rhythm. This is a life shaped by patience and subtlety, where every small motion speaks volumes, where silence often carries the deepest stories. You recall a curious detail: some falconers used special calls or whistles to signal their birds during hunts, a language of sounds as nuanced as a whispered conversation. Historians still debate how complex and widespread these vocal signals truly were, but they hint at a fascinating communication between human and bird. The pony snorts softly, nudging your hand, reminding you that you're not alone in this vast landscape. You stroke his neck, savoring the warmth and steady presence. The falcon fluffs her feathers, a soft rustle that feels like a secret shared just between the two of you. You marvel at the trust and understanding this bond requires, how two very different creatures move as one. As the night deepens, you notice the faint glow of distant campfires, flickering like fireflies against the dark. They speak of community and stories, of rest after hard days. You breathe deeply, savoring the crisp air, the calm, the connection. The steppe whispers its ancient lullaby, and you feel yourself drifting gently into its embrace. The cool night air brushes softly against your face as the pony's steady steps carry you onward beneath the vast, star studded sky. The familiar scent of wild herbs drifts faintly on the breeze, mingling with the earthy aroma of the steppe, settling into sleep. Your falcon ruffles her feathers gently, eyes gleaming even in the low light. She seems calm yet ready, a sentinel of the skies resting after a day's graceful flight. You remember a lesser known tidbit: some falconers crafted tiny bells to attach to their birds, creating a soft, melodic chime as they moved through the air, whether practical or purely decorative. Historians still debate the origin and use of these delicate adornments. The pony shifts beneath you, nostrils flaring slightly as he picks up a distant scent, a reminder that the wild is never truly still, even at rest. You reach down to pat his neck, feeling the familiar roughness of his coat under your fingers. There's a quiet comfort in these small rituals, a grounding connection that keeps you tethered to the present. The night deepens, and the sky above unfurls like a dark, velvet canopy speckled with diamonds. You think about the endless cycles of time, the seasons, the hunts, the stories passed down by firelight. Historians still argue about the precise techniques used to train falcons, but all agree it was a delicate balance of trust, patience, and an understanding. You close your eyes briefly, letting the peace of the steppe settle around you like a soft cloak. The world is vast, ancient, and full of gentle mysteries, and you are part of its quiet rhythm. The distant call of a nightjar drifts lazily through the cool air, a soft, repetitive rhythm that blends seamlessly with the gentle rustle of the grasses. Your pony's gait slows slightly, as if sensing the approaching stillness of night's deepest hour. Your falcon shifts subtly on your glove, feathers shimmering faintly in the moonlight. You breathe in the fresh, clean scent of the steppe, mingled with the faint aroma of pine needles and earth cooling under the starry sky. It's a smell that carries centuries of stories, whispered on the breeze and etched into the land. You think about how Mongolian falconers relied on keen observation watching their birds' subtle cues and behaviors, almost like reading a book written in feathers and flight. Historians still debate how much of this knowledge was formalized and how much passed down through informal storytelling. A quirky note crosses your mind. Some falconers believed their birds could understand human emotions, responding differently to sadness, joy, or calm, a kind of silent empathy between species. Whether myth or reality, it's a comforting thought in the quiet dark. Your pony snorts softly, nudging your leg as if to say, "Time to rest, friend." You smile and run your fingers gently along his mane, appreciating the steady companionship in this vast solitude. You glance up, the night sky deepening to a rich indigo, stars flickering like distant campfires. The steppe breathes around you, ancient and patient. The soft rhythm of hoofbeats and falcons' breaths blends with the night's symphony, lulling you gently towards sleep. You close your eyes, letting the peaceful quiet enfold you. The night grows deeper, and the chill in the air becomes a gentle reminder to draw your cloak tighter around your shoulders. Your pony's breathing is slow and steady beneath you, a comforting rhythm that syncs with the soft beating of your falcon's wings as she shifts slightly on your glove. The vast steppe stretches around you, a silent sea of shadows and moonlit grasses that sway softly in the breeze. You feel the quiet pulse of the land beneath, ancient and enduring, as if the earth itself is breathing alongside you. You recall a curious practice among falconers before a hunt. Some would whisper small blessings or words of encouragement to their birds, a ritual meant to strengthen trust and focus. Historians still debate the origins of these whispered traditions, whether they were practical or purely spiritual. Your pony flicks his ears toward a faint rustle nearby, muscles tensing for a moment before relaxing again. You stroke his neck, feeling the warmth and life in this loyal companion who has shared countless journeys with you. The falcon lets out a soft call, a gentle reminder of her presence and vigilance, even in rest. You smile softly, appreciating the delicate balance between wild freedom and deep connection. The stars above twinkle quietly, ancient witnesses to all that has passed here, the migrations, the hunts, the quiet moments like this, shared beneath the endless sky. You lean back slightly, letting your body relax fully, sinking into the peaceful embrace of night. The steppe whispers its lullaby once more, and you feel yourself drifting, carried gently on the wings of history. A distant wolf's howl pierces the stillness, echoing softly across the open steppe, a haunting reminder of the wild world surrounding you. Your pony twitches his ears, alert but calm, while your falcon flicks her head, eyes sharp even in the dim moonlight. The night air carries a hint of smoke from far-off campfires, mingling with the scent of dry grass and pine. You breathe it in deeply, feeling the coolness settle into your bones and the timelessness of this landscape wrap around you. You think back to stories passed down about the steppe's nocturnal creatures and their subtle interactions with falconers, how some believed certain animals brought luck or warned of danger. Historians still debate how much of these beliefs influenced daily life versus serving as folklore. Your pony shifts beneath you, nudging your hand gently, a small comfort in the vastness. You stroke his mane, the familiar texture grounding you in this moment between wakefulness and rest. Your falcon stretches her wings briefly, a soft rustle of feathers, before settling again. The bond between you feels strong and silent, built on trust and countless shared experiences. The sky above is a deep, endless expanse, stars flickering like distant fires, guiding travelers long before your time. You lean forward slightly, feeling the cool leather of your reins and the steady warmth of your companions. The steppe hums quietly, inviting you to surrender to the night's calm embrace. You close your eyes, letting the gentle darkness carry you deeper into peaceful rest. The first faint blush of dawn begins to lighten the horizon, soft pinks and blues bleeding gently into the dark sky. Your pony shifts, stirring softly beneath you as your falcon gives a quiet call, a gentle greeting to the coming day. The steppe around you holds its breath in this fragile moment between night and morning. You take a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill your lungs and the peaceful stillness settle in your chest. The world is waking slowly, wrapped in a gentle hush that seems made for quiet reflection. You think about the countless dawns witnessed here, how each one brings new light and new stories. Historians still debate how much of the falconry tradition changed with the seasons, but one thing is clear: the bond you share with your falcon and pony is timeless. A little known fact surfaces. Some falconers believe that the falcon's first flight at dawn carried good fortune for the day ahead, a hopeful start woven into the rhythm of life on the steppe. Your pony snorts softly, ready to move forward, and you gently pat his neck, grateful for the steady companionship through the night's quiet. Your falcon stretches her wings wide, feathers catching the soft morning light, a living symbol of freedom and trust. You breathe in one last time, savoring the peaceful embrace of the steppe, the gentle rise of the sun promising rest, renewal, and the endless dance of history continuing onward. As the world stirs awake, you feel a calm warmth settle over you, like a soft blanket pulled tight. The steppe whispers good morning, and you carry its quiet strength with you as you drift toward sleep.